Hello again, everybody. It's Kroll, and we are on part 2 of the target markets, which is our chapter 3. And today's part 2 involves in how you actually choose a target market. It's a 5-step process, and we'll take into consideration the information that we learned from yesterday to do it. So the first 5 steps, which we'll go into detail on each of those. First, you're going to segment your market. Second, you're going to group the products as to which these can be segmented. You're going to estimate your size of the market, and then you're going to choose it, and then you're going to take action. So first, we're going to group potential buyers into segments. So what are you looking at? As a company, you're looking at, okay, we think there's potential in this segment. How similar are the needs of the people that are clamoring for that change? Are there enough people to support it? That way you can make profit from it. If you're not going to profit from it, there's no reason to actually market towards that segment. Okay. There are segments that aren't marketed to because they're not profitable enough. At the same time, what are the differences of the needs among the buyers? Are they too wide ranging? Are they too varied? If they're not close enough and they're just a little off, maybe that's not a big enough market. Or maybe there are strong similarities, but there's also strong differences, which would allow you to have more than one segment. Okay. And so then finally, how do you reach them? Is there an ability, once you find out who they are, to communicate with them, to tell them about your product? And so I'm sure you're probably wondering, Carl, how do you segment a market? Okay. What does this entail? Well, there are different ways you can do it. First, you're going to use segmentation variables. These are characteristics that are used to divide markets into segments. So as we go along, you'll see, and these are never mutually exclusive. Just because you use one does not mean you cannot use any others. They can be used in combination together. So some things to consider. It should absolutely relate to what they need for, and what they want to use the product for. That was terrible. What they want to use the product for, what their wants and needs are. You have to be able to measure it, okay? You have to be able to use your resources appropriately to be able to measure it and to be able to meet their needs, okay? And you have to understand what it is they want. So all these kind of go together in terms of understanding the differences in what's out there, knowing that these people have those needs, there's enough of them, they have money, you can measure the differences, and you can use what you've got at your fingertips as a company to reach them in all the facets of the marketing mix. Okay? So there are different kinds. There's demographic, which again are age, gender, race, all those different ones. There are geographic, region, urban, city size, county size, market density. Climate's a huge one too. Those are important. There's 2 others, and we talked about these in the stuff you don't have control over, which is true. Psychographic, what your personality's like, your motives, your lifestyles, and then behavioristic, which is what do you expect to get out of a product? How much are you going to use it? How sensitive to you are to price? And does brand matter? Those are behavioristic. So you're going to take a combination of those, okay, to try and measure what your new segment is to see if it's valid and if it's reachable. And that's important. Okay, now, some of you are probably going, well, I'm so confused. That's okay, all right? There are people that get into marketing that like this kind of stuff, that like analyzing the data, and then giving you, the creative person, the idea to run with to create your content. Marketing has so many fingers that come off of it that doesn't really specifically matter what your strong suit is. You can do marketing, okay? So if this is all confusing you, that's okay. Oops, I need to go down. Here is kind of if you're a visual chart type of person, this is a chart that helps show you more about it and explain them more in depth. And I will put this PowerPoint out there when we are done. So again, as we go through these region, the Indianapolis area, not just the city of Indianapolis, the Indianapolis metropolitan area. It could be how far does the media reach, like a radio station? How far does its signal go? That could be an actual area. Population density, okay. Well, you've been looking at different things with COVID, and a lot of the places that are hit hard are places that have a lot more population crammed into less actual land mass. So that's population density. Demographic, those speak for itself. Those are simple. One of the big ones is family life cycle. And this is, again, from the book, but I think the book is maybe 4 years old. But this was just showing the different, these are all the different types of a family lifestyle. These are all the different ways you can quantify it. And those are the numbers that go with it. So don't just think it's married or unmarried, kids, no kids. No, there's tons of different ones that are out there. And these are all different markets, and they all have different wants and needs. So that just goes to show you that even though back here, these are easy, that makes sense, they can also be broken down even further into a more complex statistic to really pinpoint your accuracy on your target market. Psychographic, again, your personality, the things you like, how your values are, what's your lifestyle. If you live in certain areas of the nation, you are going to want to drive a nicer car than other people would because of the lifestyle you lead. Athletes are like that. I love the stories of the athletes that still drive their 2003 Ford Bronco with 200,000 miles on it because that's just what they drove through high school and college, and they like it. That's great. They have the money to buy a new car, a nice one, tricked out, whatever. But that's just how their lifestyle is. And again, your needs and your wants, and those both vary as well. Finally, here's your behavioral variables. What type of store do you like? Do you want to go into a brick and mortar store? Does it matter to you? Do you have to see it, touch it, feel it? Or can you buy it online and be okay with it? How much do the product features matter to you in knowing about it? If you go on Amazon, do you scroll down far enough to read the product features? Again, how much you're going to use it? How aware are you of new products and of that market as a whole, not just the one little segment, but a market as a whole? And what are your intentions as you purchase it? And those different things really come into play when you're choosing a target market. Excuse me, I had you on there. Step 2 is group the products into categories. Now, when you hear about Coke, you think, okay, Coke sells beverages, right? But they sell over 3,500 products, and they have many different divisions. They have soft drink division, they have juice division, they have tea division, water. They have, I think they may have, I don't know if they have any alcoholic beverages or not. They have flavored water, okay? They have energy drinks, all kinds. Those are all in categories. So as we talked about in the beverage overall market, these products are all targeted towards more specific users than just people that are thirsty, okay? There are different reasons people choose whichever one they like best. And Coke is really, I think, the best example to show you that. And you're going to group those products into categories like a product line, which we'll talk about in the next unit, to better help you when it comes to targeting your markets. Step 3, create a market profile. What is that? It's essentially a made-up person. You're taking all that information from all those different variables, and you're saying, if we had a perfect customer, here's who they would be. Okay? All the people that we have kind of seen that trend in this direction have these common characteristics. This is what our perfect customer would be like. And then you're going to act appropriately with the marketing mix to reach those people. The market potential. We saw in profiles. Again, I kind of covered that. And it determines if the products you've got can actually meet those needs. Maybe you don't have that product yet. Maybe you need to create it. Who knows? But it allows you a lot of leverage in terms of how you want to use your resources to meet that market and to benefit from it with profit. Speaking of profit, market potential is the amount you think you're going to sell in a period of time using your marketing skills. Okay. So you're seeing what the market is, and then you're seeing, okay, if we sell this much in this size of a market, we can make this type of product. Now, again, it's affected by things we don't have control over, but again, this is potential. Okay. Estimate, potential. Those words are there for a reason because they're not definitive. So that's important as well. Step 4, you are going to select the target market. You're going to take all this information, including the market size, how it's going to grow. That is a huge part of it too. It's not just going to stay the same size. As people start to use it and tell other people about it via word of mouth, is it going to grow? Are competitors going to see, wait a minute, there's room to jump into that market. Now we're going to jump into. So now you've got competition that's going to be there. How much is it going to cost you to tell people about it? All those different things. Can your organization handle making and marketing that product? And once you do that, you select your target market. And then you use the marketing mix. Product, it's all kind of been built into here. Price you're using, again, depending on how much you think people are going to pay. But if you know your market well enough, you have an idea of what they're going to pay. Also for where they want to get it. And then finally, you'll know where to find them to tell them about it. So you're doing all the research ahead of time. Yes, ahead of time. And then you're putting all that into play with that information you've created to say, here's our people, here's what they want to pay, here's where they want to get it, and here's how much, or here's where we're going to find. I can talk, I promise. Let me try that again. We know here's our market, here's what they're going to buy, okay? Here's what they're going to pay for it, here's where they want to get it, and here's how we're going to tell them. So all this stuff is important before you actually get into the marketing mix nuts and bolts. Real quick, positioning is where you're placing it in people's minds, how you are positioning yourself in the market. One is just go directly head to head. You're calling out a company and saying, we can do this better. All right. And we're coming at you. And here's why you want to use us. You're just straight up going head to head, mano a mano. I don't know what the female version of that is in Latin. Sorry. I don't know. Or you're saying, here's how we're completely different. You're differentiating yourself. You're saying, okay, most of the products have gone this route in promoting themselves. We're going to go a different route. We're going to focus on this part of it, and it's going to wake people up, and they're going to see it. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, we see what you're doing there. We're picking up what you're putting down. And so you're just taking a completely different approach than just punching them in the mouth, your competitors in the mouth, and saying, let's go. So repositioning is over time. Sometimes your position changes, the market changes, the finances change, and you've got to shift in where you want to put yourself in that market amongst your competitors. So then you go back and you figure out who your target market is and you reposition yourself. So there you have it. There is chapter 3. We are finished. So you can finish those notes and put them out on Canvas, and we will chit chat next week. Hope you have a great weekend and the weather stays wonderful. See ya.